Hello everyone and happy Friday night. You have made it through your work week and you are now entering the Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. It is so wonderful to have you guys with us across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and of course on Twitter X. It is so wonderful to be with you on this evening. Still in Rome over here, but I got plenty of college football picks. I got plenty of MLB picks for tomorrow. And of course, all the fantasy football advice that you could possibly need. Welcome everybody. Congratulations on making it through the work week. You are now entering one of the best weekends of the entire year. October is a special month because we have so many sports going on, and this weekend should be orgasmic with the number of sports we have going. We got MLB playoff action, and not just that. In the NLDS, we've got two of the best rivalries in baseball right now. Mets going to Philadelphia to play the Phillies after their shocking win against the Brewers, and the Padres travel to LA in a bad blood series between them and the Dodgers. Of course, in the American League side, Royals, Yankees, Guardians, Tigers. Should be a great weekend of baseball, but that's not everything. College football going on. Not our best weekend of college football, but certainly plenty of plays to get you excited. We're going to be giving out picks for tomorrow's games tonight, so if you guys want our college football plays, throw some confetti in the air. We are going to give out a ton of college football bets because I've been spending most of my evening focused on that. And of course, NFL Sunday kicked off last night in a shocker. Told you the Falcons would win, even though I didn't expect it to happen for a majority of that game. Felt like the Falcons were giving the game away in every possible way until ultimately Kirk Cousins opened up his shirt and showed the S on his chest as Superman delivered a game-winning drive, game-tying drive first, and then a game-winning drive. Amazing Thursday night football game, and it's only just the kickoff of what should be a really great NFL Week 5. But NFL Week 5, a warning to you all, has a lot of injuries. I've been battling it just along with you in the fantasy football world. Jonathan Taylor out, Jaylen Warren out, a number of running backs, Devin Singletary out. So we're picking up news about who to play, who to start, based on the injury reports and based on the matchups. We'll dive into all of your fantasy football questions throughout the course of the show. Welcome in everybody. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you love the content, follow, like, hit the like button as many times as you can. And one more reminder, we're going to give out picks throughout the show. So every time we get a TikTok subscriber or every time someone throws live gold confetti over on TikTok, we're going to give away college football picks. We're going to give away MLB picks. That way you're loaded up for Saturday. That said, let's get to your fantasy football questions because I know that's why a majority of you are here. Lopez, great to see you. A. Stanley, great to see you. X1X, great to see you. We'll get started with A. Stanley's question. Najee, Olave, or Brian Thomas Jr.? It's Brian Thomas Jr. for me. The matchup against the Colts is just so favorable. X1X. I have Amari Cooper and Ayuk. Would you start JSN over one of them? No, not right now. Not the matchup that I like. Seattle this weekend going up against the New York Giants. I do think the Giants have some vulnerabilities, but I really like Amari Cooper, and I like Ayuk a little bit more. So it's not that I don't like JSN. It's that Cooper and Ayuk I think are going to have better weeks. Donnie Guns, should I still trade Debo and Mooney for JJ after Mooney's performance? I don't have a problem with it. In fact, you might even ask for a throw-in player now that Mooney's value's gone up. But frankly, I don't have an issue with it. Mooney's value last night really isn't a good forecast of what he'll do in the rest of the season. I actually think you're trading him after arguably his best game of the year. Brock Ford, Kyler or Fields? I'm going to go Justin Fields. The matchup's a favorable one for me. Justin, Swift or Josh Jacobs, I believe is the question. I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. The Rams are a bad run defense, the worst run defense in the NFL. Josh Jacobs is a must-start for me. No matter what your lineup looks like, make sure Josh Jacobs gets in there. And by the way, to all of those prop bet bettors out there, look at Josh Jacobs as a good player prop bet play this week because the matchup against the Rams. Mikey $, Reed and Bijan for Kyron and Chuba Hubbard? Hell no, I'd rather have Reed and Bijan. That trade does not make sense to me. Christopher Pittman or Deontay Johnson? This one, I'm leaning Pittman. The matchup's a favorable one. Jacksonville Jaguars are the second worst pass defense in the NFL. Michael Pittman, I'm still waiting on who the quarterback is, but frankly, if it's not Richardson, I feel pretty confident in Joe Flacco slinging the football around. So, Christopher, I'd go Pittman out of those two. Brock Ford, Sermon, Tutu, or Akers. For the moment, I'm leaning Sermon just ahead of Tutu. EMN, Mostert, Ford, or Hunt. Drop one, Mostert. I would drop Mostert. His value's really plummeted over the last few weeks. Frankie, trade Devontae for Achane. Not crazy about it, to be honest. Achane's value might be drying up until Tua Tagovailoa gets back. Opposing defenses aren't as worried about the passing game, which allows them to focus on stopping the run. Not a great matchup against the Patriots. This week, over the next few weeks, the Miami Dolphins play the Patriots, then have a bye week. They do play the Colts after that, which is a great matchup. So if you're making this trade for week 7, I get it, but you're going to have 2 weeks of probably limited value. I think I'd rather own Devontae and especially see where he gets traded. Lance, trade Bijan for Derrick Henry. At this point, I'd certainly consider it. It's not a statement about Bijan's talent. It's about how the Atlanta Falcons use him. Is there any offense or is there any team that's dumber about how they use their offensive weapons? I never get it. The Atlanta Falcons drafted him in the top 10, and yet they treat him like a scrap heap running back that they just throw on the field. Bijan Robinson never gets enough opportunities. I'm always surprised by his usage rate. At this point, Derrick Henry's value is going up. Bijan's is kind of always mysterious. It goes for Kyle Pitts. It goes for Bijan. Maybe Drake London's the only sure bet in terms of fantasy play on the Falcons. But Bijan's so frustrating. I'd be willing to go towards Derrick Henry. And a big part of that is we're seeing the Ravens offensive line that was kind of finding its way in the first few weeks start to play better. I feel better about Derrick Henry overall. Now that said, Baltimore is going up against Cincinnati this week. Should be a monster week for him. Then plays Washington, then plays Tampa Bay. He's got some good running back matchups, so I like Derrick Henry more. Kellen, pick 2, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Wicks, or Pickens. Great question. For the moment, I'm going Garrett Wilson, and I am going to lean towards DJ Moore. I like Pickens, I like Wicks, but DJ Moore for me is the one. The matchup against the Carolina Panthers, interestingly enough, Panthers and Cowboys have given up a similar number of yards. So between Pickens and Moore, it's a tight play for me. But I think I just trust the passing offense of the Bears just a little bit more than the passing offense of the Steelers. I also know that Pickens is going to go up against Diggs. That's a better corner matchup than what the Panthers have. I believe that's J.C. Horn, good corner, and I don't think he's quite to Diggs' level. Alex, what are some targets to trade away for Hill? Alex, we don't do open-ended questions, slows down the show. Do some research, identify some players, maybe some opposing teams that need a wide receiver, who's someone that they would be able to trade. Then throw that question in the comment section. More than happy to answer an A versus B kind of trade question, but if it's open-ended, just waste time without a lot of understanding of the variables related to your league. Justin Eubanks, pick 3. I would go Brian Thomas Jr., Reed, and for the moment, I'm leaning Olave. Brian Thomas Jr., Reed, and Olave would be the 3 for me. I think that's the best grouping. Cruz, Amari Cooper, or Olave? Really tough question. The reason I'm so high on Olave this week, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs have actually struggled against the pass. However, Amari Cooper this week, going up against the Washington Commanders, this is a tight one. For the moment, I think I'm leaning slightly towards Olave. But if Olave is not a full healthy go, if he's day-to-day, if there's any risk of injury there, you can obviously switch to Amari Cooper. Really quick, I'm just going to check out the injury report for the Saints. Scrolling down, give me one quick moment. Kansas City Chiefs and the Saints game. So Chris Olave, full participant in practice today. I'd go Chris Olave. Sounds like he's over the injury. AC Bear, Swift or Moss rest of season. I'm going to lean towards Swift. The only reason for that is I'm very high on Chase Brown ultimately taking that RB1 spot from Zach Moss. So I'm not as high on Moss rest of year as I am Swift. Great question though. Brody, Sermon or Wicks? really tough. I lean towards Sermon because with no Jonathan Taylor, Sermon plays the role of RB1, and I think he's got the opportunity to be a double-digit play. With Wicks, a lot of receivers there. He hasn't defined his role, so I'm a little less confident there. I know the Rams are a bad defense, especially on the passing side. I mean, both passing and running, but I lean towards Sermon just barely. Very close for me, Brody, but it's Sermon's extra carries. He's going to get more carries than Wicks is going to get targets, so that's why I come out on that one. Colin Ellis, Hubbard, Brian Robinson, James Conner for the rest of the season. I think it's Brian Robinson Jr. and what's a surprise play. I think James Conner's age and his wear and tear might catch up with him over the course of the year. Adam G, I'd go Trey Sermon. Adam G, Trey Sermon. Justin Lane, great to see you, buddy. Wicks or Amari Cooper? I'm going Amari Cooper. Wide receiver 1 on the depth chart versus a wide receiver question mark. Where is Wicks compared to Watson, Dobbs, Reed, everybody else in that offense? I feel like Cooper is the more sure play. Get some paper, get some pew pew pew, get some pew pew pew. I'd go Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, Marvin Harrison Jr., tough matchup against the 49ers this week. I'm going Josh Jacobs. If you guys want some college football picks for tonight's games, as well as tomorrow's, throw some confetti in the air or become a TikTok subscriber. We're going to give away free picks throughout the course of the show. Tilly just traded Malik Neighbors and Kelsey for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kraft, and a 2025 first. How did I do? Tilly, I'm not crazy about the trade, and the only reason I'm not crazy about it is because it sounds like you're not really playing for this year. I understand Neighbors is going to be out a couple weeks. I think Kelsey's value is going to start to really climb over the next few weeks. It's just interesting to me because Amon-Ra St. Brown's a great addition, but I feel like this is a bit of a punt to next season, and I'm never endorsing going for next year. This isn't actual football. This is fantasy football. If you're not winning a title this year, really? You're going to delay the opportunity to win till next year? I just don't like it because it seems like you're less competitive. Mohammed, I'd go Wicks. He is the play over Wan'Dale Robinson. R. Lopez, start Purdy or Love. For me, it's Jordan Love. The matchup's so favorable. I think Purdy might hand the ball off a little bit too much for me. I think Jordan Love has the better game overall. Appreciate the question. Your Uncle Rum, start Fields or Mahomes in a standard league? I'd go Fields because I love the rushing yard opportunity against the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, no Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence, so the Cowboys' pass rush is incredibly limited. We just saw Justin Fields perform well against the Colts. I think Fields backs that up with a really good game. Lucas Rathwell, Etienne. Lucas Rathwell, I'd go Etienne. Jake the Plumber, Trey Sermon or Allen Lazard. Trey Sermon, and it's not that close to me. Allen Lazard has a good matchup, but he's wide receiver 3 in that offense. Bob, Jacoby Myers or Allen Lazard. Well, the Las Vegas Raiders this week are going up against the Broncos. I'd go Allen Lazard on that one because Myers is probably going to be wide receiver 1 going up against Patrick Surtain the second. Terrible matchup for him. I'd go Lazard just barely. Vikings are the worst pass defense in terms of yards so far this season. Ben, trade Kirk and Rashad White. Trade Kirk and Rashad White for Adams. I think you're giving up too much in that trade. Joe Ruiz, Worthy or Winnington? It's going to be Worthy for me. I just feel like I know a little bit more about him. 49ers fan, can you please accept me on TikTok? I don't understand what you're talking about, accept you. What do you mean? I'm answering questions right now, 49ers fan. What do you mean? EMN, Cowboys or Packers defense this week? I'm probably leaning towards the Packers because if I like Justin Fields as the quarterback of the Steelers this week, I probably don't like the Cowboys defense. And again, no Micah Parsons, no Chuba Hubbard. 49ers fan, I'm taking questions right now. Please don't be that guy. Please don't be that guy. I'm answering questions. If we were taking calls, we'd be taking calls. Zinksty, Terry, Waddle, JSN for Marvin Wicks and Tank Dell. I have CD Cup and DJ Moore. I love giving Marvin Harrison Jr. I do think that's an upgrade overall. You know what, Zinksty? I don't like this trade enough. I don't think Wicks' value really sustains throughout the rest of the year. Is that Tank Dell? I'd rather have JSN than Tank Dell. Terry McLaurin, I probably like a little bit more than, I like Marvin Harrison Jr. the most, but Zinksty, I actually don't like this trade. It just doesn't make sense to me. I get it from a short-term perspective. I don't really get it from a long-term perspective. The only player I'm glad you're getting rid of is Waddle, but I just don't get it, Zinksty. It doesn't do it for me. Lucas Rathwell, or should I pick up Najee and start him over Etienne? No. Lucas Rathwell, I would start Etienne. Appreciate you guys being with us. Okay, MB, is DK 100%? I've heard he's banged up on his hand. Seattle Seahawks is what we're looking at. DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf was a limited participant in practice. I'm going to take that as a positive. He did practice. It's a good matchup. I'm going to lean towards DK being a good enough start for him to be in your lineup. Lucci DeMeo, Sutton, or Addison? Great question. It's going to be Sutton, though, because Addison's facing the Jets' pass defense, which is the #1 pass defense right now. Estui, I probably like Sutton this week overall. Going up against the Raiders' pass defense, that's not a good one. I think this is a good opportunity to actually play Cortland Sutton. So I like Cortland Sutton this week as a start. Drizzy, does Cody Senga starting for the Mets change your mind on who wins game 1? A little bit, because the Phillies haven't had a lot of success against him. That said, I do have a pick for that game. I'll throw it up on the board once we get some live goal confetti, or we get a TikTok subscriber. I'm going to give out a bunch of picks throughout the show. I am a little bit worried about Cody Senga, but not enough right now. Maybe that's a tease for you. Say Dina, who do I start at flex? Chuba, Swift, Wandale, Reek, or Addison? Oof. Wandale is an interesting one, but the Seattle Seahawks pass defense is just too good for me. Tyreek Hill against the Patriots, don't like that one. Swift and the Chicago Bears going up against Carolina, that's going to be the one. Carolina Panthers run defense is the 4th worst right now in the NFL, so say Dina, I'd go Swift. I know he's been a little hot and cold, but he's coming off his best game of the year last week. I'll go Swift because the Carolina Panthers run defense is just so bad. Tillin, would you trade Mason and Kirk? Thanks, Jennifer. Picks coming in a moment. Would you trade Mason and Kirk for Tyreek and Eckler? I have Brian Thomas. No. What? No. Austin Eckler has very limited value. Tyreek Hill is not the wide receiver you think he is. I don't know if Tyreek Hill's a wide receiver 1 right now. Just putting it out there. That trade makes no sense to me, Tillin. I understand you want to get out of having both Jacksonville wide receivers, but don't give away value just because you want to get out of a bad situation. That is an awful trade. Don't like it. George C. Trade Devontae Adams for Devon Achane. No. If you think Devon Achane has real value, fine. But Devontae Adams might be upgraded to a wide receiver 1 on a playoff team where Devon Achane, as long as Tua is out, the run offense is not the same because teams don't respect the passing offense of the Dolphins. Just not a good move for me. Let's get some picks on the board because there have been some bad trades being mentioned right now. And so I want to make sure we put some cold water on some bad trades to make sure we get some good picks up on the board. Let me give out a couple picks. I'm not just going to give out one. I'm going to give out a couple because Jennifer's awesome, and I appreciate Jennifer's support in the show. I'm going to give out 2 college football picks for tonight, and I'm going to give out an MLB pick for tomorrow, okay? So 2 college football picks for this evening. Jennifer, thanks so much. First one, TCU minus 13.5. TCU minus 13.5. I am moving this line a little bit. TCU, as of right now, is a 16.5 point favorite. I want to be on the other side of a 2-touchdown win. I think TCU wins by 2 touchdowns, so I'll take TCU minus 13.5. Move that line a little bit in my favor. The 16.5, do I think they could get to 17 points? I do, but I want that field goal on my side, so I'll take TCU minus 13.5. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2 that we're going to throw up on the big board is going to be for the same game. It's going to be Houston and TCU. I have this game going under 53.5. Under 53.5. As of right now, this game's at 51.5. So again, I'm moving the line just a little bit. I'm taking the under based on the trends. This total has moved up over the course of the day. It opened at 50.5, had moved up to 52.5 before coming back down to 51.5. I'm going to take it at 53.5. Right now, under 53.5 is available at minus 145 on BetMGM, DraftKings. FanDuel's minus 150. So TCU minus 13.5, Houston TCU under 53.5. 2 college football picks for games that are tonight. Don't forget college football this evening. Now, let's throw an MLB pick on the board for tomorrow. I brought it up earlier. I'm taking Phillies on the money line. The trends are really backing the Phillies with Zach Wheeler on the mound. It's not that I don't believe in the Mets. They're super hot right now. I think there's a lot of momentum there, and I don't love taking a team that's on rest against a team that's played within the last few days. The team that's had more recent at-bats usually plays a little bit better, but Zach Wheeler on the mound, he's been so good as a home favorite this year for the Phillies. I'm going to ride it. I'm going Phillies on the money line for that pick tomorrow. If you told me the Mets cover plus 1.5, wouldn't shock me, but for a money line play, I'm going to go with Zach Wheeler. I'll go with the best pitcher on the mound, and that's how I'll make that play. I do have a player prop bet for that game, though. I'll throw that up there as well. Speaking of OMG, for all those Met fans, Jose Iglesias, he has been red hot throughout the year. He's hitting over 300. He's got great numbers against Zach Wheeler. I've got Jose Iglesias over half a hit, so even though I like the Phillies on the money line, I think Jose Iglesias does collect a hit tomorrow against Zach Wheeler. So we put out 2 college football picks for tonight, an MLB pick for tomorrow, as well as an MLB player prop bet for tomorrow. More confetti we get, more picks we give out. Or if you're a TikTok subscriber, if you become a TikTok subscriber, we'll give away more picks. Let's get to O's question. O asks, start 3 of the 4, Jacob, Swift, McLaurin, and Kirk. Wow, great opportunity this week. I'm going to go Jacob, Swift, and Kirk. Jacob, Swift, and Kirk are going to be the 3 for me. Jacobs, great matchup. Swift, great matchup. Kirk, great matchup. McLaurin's matchup just isn't quite as favorable because it's against the Browns' pass defense, which is a top 10 pass defense. So Jacob, Swift, and McLaurin are going to be the 3 for me, O. Thanks for the question. Thanks for supporting the show. Hojo, trade Purdy and Goddard for Hurts. Have Ferguson as a second tight end. I don't know. I like it a little bit, but Hurts' value isn't quite what it was last year with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. Purdy's going to play well. I probably lean towards yes, because Hurts does have more value than Purdy, and I don't really value Goddard. He's going to have some good weeks when wide receivers are out for the Eagles, but season long, I'm not really high on him. I'm okay with it, Hojo, but do I think the other owners probably feel really good about this trade? I do. I'm just kind of on the fence about it. Alex, Mike Evans for Kenneth Walker. Right now, I'm not trading Mike Evans. Mike Evans is super hot. I thought he would have a bad game yesterday. I was wrong. He didn't have massive yardage, but he had 2 receiving touchdowns. The chemistry with Baker is there. I'm not trading Mike Evans, especially for Kenneth Walker, who seems to be having injury issues, and that's been in his history. So I'm a little bit scared about Kenneth Walker rest of season. I'd rather have Mike Evans. Tem Yalima, Hill, Dell, or Sermon. It's Sermon. I like Dell, but I got to go Sermon on this one. Xerxes 5, pick 2. Downs and Worthy. Downs and Worthy. Xerxes 5, Downs and Worthy would be the 2. Tem Yalima, I just got you on Trey Sermon, buddy. Lucci DeMeo, should I trade Chuba Hubbard and Terry McLaurin for Ayuk and Jacobs? You're getting Ayuk and Jacobs. I love it. Sorry, the way you wrote the trade earlier confused me. If you're getting Ayuk and Jacobs, I freaking love that trade. Do it now. Nuv DK, drop Cowboys for Packers? Yes. The Cowboys' defense is not trustworthy right now. Their 2 best defensive players, you could argue, are out. They've struggled against the pass. They've struggled against the run. I don't have a lot of faith in this team overall, so absolutely. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content, enjoying the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time we're live. Love talking football with you guys, so make sure you hit that follow button. It's wonderful to be with you. Throw your questions and comments in the chat. Nate, start Kirk or the rookie? Brian Thomas Jr., I would start Brian Thomas Jr. Tillin, Mason or Tyreek rest of season? Mason, rest of season. Christian Silva, so many injuries. Start Hill, Downs, Kareem Hunt. I'm leaning towards Josh Downs, believe it or not. I don't like Tyreek Hill this week. Downs has a good matchup. It's interesting because the Saints' run defense so far this year has actually been pretty good. That's what's keeping me from Hunt. Downs in the flex is where I go, Christian. The RJ, drop any for Tutu or Trey Tucker. I would drop Eckler. I'm just not high on Eckler. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has solidified that role. Eric Anderson, drop Bucky for Singletary. No, Devin Singletary's out. Devin Singletary is not playing this week. He's already been ruled out. James Saz, ETN Cook or Swift, sit one. I'd sit James Cook. Swift's got a good matchup. ETN's got a good matchup. James, believe it or not, I'd sit James Cook. Appreciate you guys being with us. Temulima, James Conner going up against the 49ers run defense. It's Sermon. Go with Sermon. He has a tough matchup against Jacksonville. James Conner's got a tougher one. I'd go Trey Sermon. Docs with 3 X's managed to trade Bucky, Allen, Keenan Allen, and Zay Flowers for Wilson and Gibbs. How we feeling? I love the trade. I really do. Garrett Wilson's best games are ahead of him. Gibbs' best games are probably ahead of him as well. A 4-for-2 trade isn't great, but Keenan Allen's unreliable. Zay Flowers is he's the number 1 wide receiver, but the run offense of the Ravens is what's getting more shine. Allen and Bucky I really like, but the combination of the two probably don't equal Gibbs. I like this trade overall, even though it's a little imbalanced in sight, in value. It's actually a good move for me. A good move for you, rather. Bruck, Tracy Jr. or Eckler. It's Tracy Jr. Tracy Jr. I know the Seahawks are a good run defense, but Tracy Jr. is going to get all the opportunities with Devin Singletary out. If you are looking for a running back, Tracy Jr. of the Giants is someone to consider, along with Trey Sermon of the Colts. New DK, pick 3. BTJ, Higgins, and I'm going to lean Swift. BTJ, Higgins, and Swift are going to be the 3 for me, Noob DK. It's close with Sutton, but I like the other 3's matchup a little bit more. Ryan Michael, would you trade Metcalf and Worthy for Jefferson? No. Jefferson's value is still got a cap on it compared to the other 2. The 2-for-1 doesn't work for me here because Metcalf is going to put up big numbers. Jefferson's great, but I'm just not liking the 2-for-1, especially because Metcalf and Worthy are probably going to outproduce Jefferson over the course of the year. King Sloth 19, Josh Downs or DJ Moore. I'll go DJ Moore on that one. Wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 2, 3 on that offense. That's what makes the difference for me. LC, Pickens, Hubbard, Pittman, or Worthy as a flex. Please help. I'd go with Pittman. I brought it up before. Jacksonville's pass defense is the 2nd worst in the NFL. I think Pittman's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of opportunities. By the way, if you don't know, the Colts have terrible history going up against Jacksonville. They don't have Jonathan Taylor. I think they need to ride the passing game even more. It's why I do like Josh Downs for a lot of folks, and it's why I really like Michael Pittman this week. Veg X-Row, can you pick one to start at the flex? Of course, Lazard, Leggett, or Ferguson. You already got Kelsey at the tight end. I like that. I'm leaning towards Allen Lazard because the Vikings are so bad in the pass game. Vikings are giving up around 274 pass yards per game. So I'm going to lean just slightly on this one towards Lazard, though I don't love you starting him over someone else. Who you mentioned, Leggett and Ferguson, they don't do it for me. New DK, Ferguson or McBride? Well, it really comes down to, is McBride cleared? He's been battling that concussion. Really quick, I'm just going to check on the status. I've got the injury reports up here on the side. Trey McBride was a full participant in practice. Trey McBride, New DK, Larkus, you're asking the same question. I'd go Trey McBride. Ferguson's matchup against the Steelers, not a great one, but I prefer McBride just because he's a better tight end at this point and how they use him in the offense. He's a full participant. That means he's going to play. McBride's the one for me. Larkus and New DK. Pretty cool you asked the same question at the same time. Temulima. I don't like Tyreek Hill, so it comes down to James Conner versus Tank Dell. Houston's going up against Buffalo. Buffalo's a pretty good pass defense. I'm going to lean James Conner, Tem. It's not a great matchup, but I'll lean with James Conner. Make sure you guys are hitting the follow button. Make sure you're a member of the Butt Fumble Sports community. We are live almost every single day answering your fantasy questions. We're going to give out more MLB and college football picks throughout the show. So if you want more of those, subscribe on TikTok or throw some confetti in the air. We'll give out more free picks. Carter, Amari Cooper over Deontay Johnson. Carter, I'd go Amari Cooper over Deontay Johnson. XHNCO. Pick one. Mike Williams, Down to a Slayton, Tracy, or Mike Williams. I'm probably leaning slightly towards Mike Williams just ahead of Tracy. I like the matchup a lot. Aiden, what do you do about Bijan? You hold on to him. I don't think you'll probably get enough value in a trade. You really have to piece a couple pieces. You'd have to make it a multiplayer trade to get good value back. I think you're just kind of stuck riding the Atlanta Falcons roller coaster. Luis Martinez, McBride or Bowers? Ooh, tough one. I probably am leaning just slightly towards McBride. The reason for that, the Denver Broncos are so good against the pass. Denver Broncos are the fourth best pass defense in the league. I'm going to lean slightly towards McBride, Luis. Armando, Mixon probably out. Allen, Spears, Mostert on the bench. Drop Spears or Mostert for Akers or Tracy. Exactly. That's exactly what I would do. I would drop Mostert, probably pick up Tracy. That's probably where I come out. Appreciate the question. If you want to go with Akers, I get it. It's kind of a flip of the coin there. I'm leaning slightly towards Tracy, but you can go either way. Quishine, Waddle, Lazard, or Adunze? Good question there. Didn't have a great game last week, Adunze. Does have me a little bit concerned about that. I think I'm leaning slightly towards Lazard because the matchup against the Vikings is a favorable one. Ben Reese, Keon Coleman, or Pittman? Pittman. As mentioned before, Jacksonville's pass defense sucks. Appreciate the question. Trevor, I'd go Tutu over Leggett. Tutu over Leggett. Moby, bench one. Hall, Wicks, Johnson. Man, I really don't want to say bench Hall. Okay, I'll bench Deontay Johnson and I'll play Hall. Do I feel good about that? No. The Minnesota Vikings are a really good run defense. They are the second best run defense in the league. But Breece Hall had a terrible game last week. I think he bounces back and at least produces kind of a mid or average game. I'd rather probably play Hall and Wicks than play Johnson. The Bears' pass defense so far this year is top 8, so bad matchups on both sides. I'm going to trust Breece Hall a little bit more, though I don't feel great about it. Freddie Martinez, with Neighbors down, I need to pick up someone to start and keep him on the bench. Who do you pick up? I'm probably leaning Wicks right now. Wicks just barely over Downs. Very close between those two, though. I really could go either way. On that one. You know what? I'm going to lean just slightly towards Downs, believe it or not. Just a couple fewer weapons in the Colts offense, so I'm on the fence between the two. I'll flip a coin and I'll say Downs, just because I think he's going to get a few more targets than Wicks will. Larkus, Brian Robinson Jr., Deontay Johnson. Okay, so the Washington Commanders going up against the Browns' run defense. So far this year, the Brown defense, not as good as you would think, 123 rush yards allowed. Meanwhile, as mentioned before, Carolina is going up against the Bears' pass defense, which is pretty good. I'll go Brian Robinson Jr., Larkus, and then between the two defenses, I'm leaning towards the Seahawks going up against Daniel Jones rather than the Jets against Sam Darnold. I think the Jets defense plays well, but the Jets have a few more weapons. The Vikings have a few more weapons with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones. Giants are without Devin Singletary. They're obviously without Malik Neighbors. I'm going to take the Seahawks defense this week. So Brian Robinson Jr. and the Seahawks defense, Larkus. Thanks for the question. You guys want another college football pick? I'm going to give away one for free. I know we haven't gotten anyone to subscribe on TikTok or throw more confetti in the air, but I feel in the mood to give away some college football picks. Let's give another one away for tonight's games. I'm going UNLV. UNLV on the money line. UNLV on the money line is the next pick I'm giving out. That's up on the big board. So we've got 3 college football picks for tonight on the board. TCU minus 13.5. Houston TCU under 53.5, and UNLV on the money line. You want another college football pick? Fine, I'll give you another one because you guys are the best and I love you and whatever. Let's give out another one. Big spread in the Oregon game doesn't worry me at all. I'm taking Oregon minus 19.5. I'm taking Oregon minus 19.5. Now, that number is important because that's not what the spread is right now. As of right now, the 6th-ranked Oregon Ducks, the spread is minus 23.5. Much like TCU, I want to be on the other side of the score. So Oregon minus 19.5, I like that. because I think they win by 20. I think they probably win by 3 touchdowns and get to 21. Can they get to 24 points? I don't know. Ducks at home against Michigan State. I think they win big. I think they win by 3 touchdowns. I don't know if they win by 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So I'll take Oregon minus 19.5. That's up on the big board, everybody. So we've got 4 college football picks. We have 1 MLB pick for tomorrow and 1 player prop bet pick for tomorrow as well. Suhan, do I like Keon Coleman tomorrow on Sunday? Not really. Buffalo going up against the Houston Texans pass defense. So far this year, the Texans pass defense, it's top 5 right now in the league. So I really don't like Keon Coleman this week. Bob, was training Lockett for Myers a good idea? Probably yes. I'll say yes, because he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of opportunities now that Devontae Adams is most likely being traded. So the answer is yes, but frankly, I'm not high on either player. So I'll say yes, but it doesn't mean I'm super excited about it. David, go Garrett Wilson. David, Garrett Wilson over Flowers. Sports betting. Who wins this trade? Mason, CMC, Marvin Harrison Jr., JSN, Jones, Debo, Worthy, and Chubb. It's a great question. It's tough because I love Mason, Marvin Harrison Jr., and JSN. Those 3 players on their own, I actually think might win the deal. The only way that the Jones, Debo, Worthy, Chubb side wins it is if Chubb returns to his status as an RB1 and isn't splitting carries with Ford and just his value is there. I kind of lean towards the Mason. The problem is CMC's value is just nothing for me. You're really just doing that to handcuff, to just have the 49ers running back, whoever it is. So for the moment, I don't really love the Jones, Debo, Worthy, Chubb side. There's some question marks to that one that I'm just not as crazy about. Mason's the clear RB1. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the clear wide receiver 1. JSN's value is going up by the week. Jones, can he stay at this level? Debo, he's not wide receiver 1 anymore. That's Ayuk. Worthy might be wide receiver 1 for the next few weeks, but Rashee Rice isn't done for the year. If Rashee Rice were done for the year, I would take the Jones, Debo, Worthy, Chubb side, but for the moment, I think I'd rather have Mason, Marvin Harrison Jr., and JSN. The CMC piece just is a throw-in. Brian, pick 2. I'd go Sermon, and I'd go Tutu Atwell, believe it or not. Sermon and Tutu Atwell, I think, are the 2 for me. Shelby, Wicks, Dell, or Christian Kirk? Ooh, tough one. I'm going to lean Christian Kirk on this one. I know that the Packers have a good matchup this week against the Rams pass defense, but actually, Colts are even worse against the pass. I'm going to go Kirk on that one. Appreciate you guys being with us. By the way, don't spam the chat, sports bettings. We'll mute you. Don't spam the chat. Bridges 46, Gesicki or Freiermuth? Great question there. I think I'm leaning slightly towards Freiermuth just because the matchup is more favorable. Gesicki and the Ravens, here's the thing. Ravens are a bad pass defense, but they've been decent against tight ends. I think I lean towards Freiermuth just barely. Amado, Martinez, Smith, and Ayuk for CeeDee Lamb. Oof. Probably, I don't really like it, to be honest with you. I do on one level. Obviously, CeeDee's the best player. You can lock him in. If you have depth at wide receiver, I guess it's okay. Smith and Ayuk will outscore him combined. But obviously, if you can only start one of them, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm not as crazy about it as I should be. Ryan Darnold or Kyler Murray? It's Kyler Murray for me. Darnold's got a brutal matchup against the Jets. Alden Cheever, Wicks or Shaheed? Wicks. Wicks is going to be it for me. Shaheed has a good matchup, but he's been struggling a little bit of late. Cole, CeeDee Lamb, and James Conner for Tyreek Hill, Aaron Jones, and Debo. No, I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb and James Conner. Chris H. FSU, I'd go Atwell and Fields. Atwell and Fields. Chris H. FSU, Atwell and Fields. Thanks for the question. Alden Cheever, don't spam the chat. Cole got to that question. Ray Berry, Worthy, Tyreek Hill, Wicks, or Debo? Need 2. I'd go Worthy and Debo. Worthy and Debo just ahead of Wicks. Very close on this one. Very close, but I feel like that's where I come out on this one. It is a close one for me, though. Certainly appreciate the question. Hope you're doing well. Make sure you guys hit the follow button.